Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It is Wednesday, July 15th. It's 106 degrees outside. There's Canadian wildfire smoke pouring over the border. And everything should tell us that we should not ride the bike up to the comic book shop. But that is not how I roll. So regardless of blistering heat and obscene temperatures, we're hitting the trails to head up to pick up our new comic books. Then we're going to come back, talk about what we liked from last week, talk about some cool stuff I got in the mail, and then chat about new comics. So let's hit the trails.
My heart that used this time cuts deadlines deep into my mind, in my thoughts full of their lies. But all I hear is their voices in my head. Can't stop the beating of my heart. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. Let's turn it up and go till I grow immune to it. It's my heart that fuels this fire. So I keep taking their punches, but I still hear them, their voices in my head, screaming better left for dead. But they can't stop the beating of my heart. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. Let's turn it up and go. There are voices in my head screaming better left for dead. But they can't stop the beating of my heart. The beating of my heart. They can't stop the beating of my heart. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. All I need is a spark to start this fire. Let's turn it up and go. I'm beating on this high tonight. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
All right, we are back. It was incredibly hot. Haven't quite got affected by the Canadian wildfires yet. You would think we would because we're super close to the border, but it's supposed to roll in tonight, I think. But the tea is made, and I gotta say, I should have started off with saying comic book community nominated BaseMint Comics. And speaking of which, one of the things, I don't really know what... I saw that there were nominations for the channel, which is incredibly nice, and I appreciate anyone who did that. I don't think I know what they're for. I know one of them specifically said tea, so I was like, that one now. Did I have any want or need to win? No. But now that the tea was nominated, I kind of want to win that one. That one's kind of in my bones now. That'll make the missus very happy. She'd get a chuckle out of that one. And I heard tale that I was nominated for the room tour, and I got to admit, not to toot my own horn or anything, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty great space. So you know, not to, this won't win me any favor, but I should be fucking chewing for that one. But you know, it is what it is. Hats off to all the other nominees. There were people out there channels that I love that I nominated for stuff. So, you know, should be fun. It'll be cool to see how it all shakes out. So there's that. Let's see. Over the weekend, I got some cool stuff in the mail. We're gonna start off with, so I went up to the record store and Rolling Stones had a new album out, and their last album from a few years back, Hackney Diamonds, produced by Andrew Watt. Andrew Watt's been like crushing it as a producer. I know this has nothing to do with comics, but it does. I'll get there. Like, he produced Eddie Vedder's solo record, which is fantastic. The most recent Pearl Jam record, which actually became my, like, I don't know how he did it, but those dudes put out a record that made me reshuffle my organization of how I love Pearl Jam records, and Dark Matter shot to the top. And Hackney Diamonds, I was like, holy shit, I cannot imagine that these guys are in their late 70s, early 80s and putting out a record that sounds that fresh. And this one, just as good. And I was like, I'm going to pick up the CD, and I tend to double dip on albums, and if they're really great, like, for me to pick up records on vinyl, they've got to be like, I can drop that on the turntable and it's a no-skip album, right? And this one I had no idea, because there was only a couple singles. I liked them. I trust the Stones. But they released a cover on vinyl of Spider-Man making the logo out of webs. And I was like, you got me. You got me. And it was to be packaged with a what if comic, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it'll be like a what if. There's like a Thor cover and a Captain America cover and a Wolverine cover, but I went with the Spidey cover because I thought the webbing of the logo thing was cool. And when I opened it up, I bought the Spider-Man issue, so I thought I was going to get like a Spider-Man comic, and I did. That's what came with it. But this is what's great. I've been picking up those new what ifs that Marvel's been putting out the past couple of weeks, and my shop did not get the Thor one. And I was like, well, they haven't been that, if I'm being completely honest, they haven't been that great. So I was like, do I really want to bug my shop about the fact that, because it appears that, like, if I didn't get it, I don't even think it was ordered. I think it might have been missed, you know. And it's not, I go to a lovely mom and pop shop that's been in business, I think this year's like its 50th anniversary. That is it? No, that can't be right. 40. It's got to be 40. No, I just saw some artwork they did for the anyways, irregardless, it's been around my entire life. Well, it's been around my entire comic book collecting life, and I love it. But it's not by no means is it like the biggest store in our area or whatever. So when it comes to new comics, like, if you want something, you got to pre-order it. That's the name of the game. And so I think that what if Thor got missed. And so I opened this up fully expecting some type of like, what if the Spider-Man rescued Charlie Watts from Mole Man, you know? And I was pleasantly surprised to find that it was, what if Thor got Spider-Man symbiote suit? And I was like, hey, life just worked out, because that was the issue of the what if run that's going on right now that I didn't get. And so now I have this weird Rolling Stone Spider-Man cover for it. But I was able to read it, and now I don't got to bug my shop about ordering a copy of it, because it's already a couple weeks behind. And so, hey, that's great. So, you know, there's that fun, ridiculous Rolling Stones Spider-Man record cover, which, why they did that mashup, no idea. But I'm a fucking sucker for it. The other thing that popped up in the mail, you heard me gush about John Byrne's X-Men Elsewhere, and I was privy to them releasing a Midtown exclusive variant cover limited to 400 copies that would be signed by John Byrne. And so I went ahead and ordered that the second it went live. So there's that old John Byrne signature. So yes, now I have 2 copies of different covers of this, and I still think it's fantastic. And now that house repairs have been slowly coming to an end, there's no longer water dripping anywhere in the house as of this afternoon, because we finally took out the old 1950s bathroom sink from our like guest bathroom, which is part of the reason why I haven't done a room tour, is because I've been having to like crawl into the ceiling to figure out where we're going to like, you know, cut in with newer pipes to make all of this stuff work. So maybe when all that dies down, I will give this another read, because the first time that I read it was while all the craziness of the house stuff and Mrs. Basement's injury all sort of happened during that time period. So now that it's starting to wind down, I'll probably give that another read. So there you go. That's what's going on with that. Everything that I read last week was sort of like, yeah, that's a comic, that's fun, but nothing really like knocked my socks off. I did, however, thoroughly enjoy this issue of Uncanny X-Men. Love that cover. Love the B-movie side of it. And there's some interesting stuff going on with like the Graymalkin prison thing here, where it's kind of being revealed that there was more behind the scenes stuff going on with perhaps them turning it into another Weapon X facility, but realizing that they weren't going to be able to create Wolverines, but just do some damage to some mutants. And so then we get some good Nightcrawler stuff where he's been kidnapped by these, whatever these aliens are. And then the kids are at a high school dance in town. And I know that what you're thinking is like, that doesn't sound like a good Uncanny X-Men comic, and you'd be wrong. The Brood are attacking, and the thing that sort of hooked me with this is like, when they introduced the Gen X kids in 94, 95, probably 95, in the Phalanx Covenant, it was done kind of organically. It's the same way that I kind of enjoyed Gail Simone's approach to introducing these outlier kids. I don't know what the consensus is online of this Uncanny X-Men run. I know that like anytime that I look at anything comic book wise, it turns into someone being like, oh my god, Battle Beast and Absolute Dork are the best books out there, which is great. That's fine. But it always comes with this like, I'm going to say this thing is great while saying something else is trash, and that just sort of like, that kind of bums me out. And so, I've been thinking a lot about the X books because I've been critical of some of them, and I think that Uncanny would be elevated if X-Men was better. I think Uncanny has been living up to exactly what the promise of this book was. And I know it throws people for a loop because this book should be the flagship title, but there is, as I point to the wall of a complete run of Uncanny X-Men, I can tell you there are times where the team was disjointed and not as together as it seems. And I really, really like this slowed down kind of pace of the adults kind of nurturing this group of kids, not necessarily at the school, but in Louisiana. And I think what it boils down to is my enjoyment of this is not because the story is, I think the stories are fine. The problem that I think I'm having with it is that it's what my problem has been with comics for a while, which is like everything's kind of drawn out. Like this, if this was 80s Claremont X-Men, this alien comes down and it is revealed that the aliens are actually coming here to exterminate Brood that have been like hibernating here. And so it's like the X-Men and the kids versus the Brood, and now these aliens show up. And so it's like, yo, yeah, this is great. Does it need to be 6 issues? Probably not. And back in the day, it could have been 2 or 3 issues with some threads built in. And I think that's where my like, oh, this could be so much better if it was just a little tighter. And I wish the other X-Men book was a little better, because I think that would elevate this one as well, because people wouldn't be looking towards this book for the same thing that they're hoping to get out of the X-Men book, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't. But that's what I was thinking as I was rereading this last night. I was like, this is great. It's fun. I just wish, like, this issue and the last issue in the time period when I was growing up reading comic books would have been 1 issue, and it would have felt more substantial. Stakes might have felt higher, and it wouldn't feel like stuff was sort of getting drawn out for the sake of appeasing trade waiters. You know, what are you gonna do? So I'm enjoying Uncanny X-Men, even though that probably sounds like I'm not. I am. I long for the day where, like, it wasn't 6-issue arcs, and sometimes we could have 2 and 3 and 12, you know. It is what it is. So, all right. Books that I picked up this week. There were 2 books here. I was not gonna get this because I said the What If Uncanny X-Men one was kind of not. It was a little too, like, What Ifs. I think they did this fantastically in the What If television show, where they had that party Thor episode, where I was like, oh, this is nice, because it's not just, everything isn't just like, let's see how many interesting ways we can kill your heroes from another universe. Like, that's not really my cup of tea. And so when I was looking at, like, my pull list or whatever, I was like, if I could get away with putting this What If Jessica Jones back, I probably would. And then I was like, you know what? No. Like, I pre-ordered it, damn it, so I'm not stiffing my shop with it. So, my fingers are crossed that I enjoyed the Thor one that came in the Rolling Stones record. I didn't really care for the Secret Wars one, but that's mostly because I don't really care about the Ultimate Universe, I'm sorry. But I do like the character of Jessica Jones. I liked Alias quite a bit, so hoping that I do not regret the $4.99 that I spent on it, plus whatever my discount is. I don't know what my discount is. And then another one that I was thinking about dropping, even though it's the first issue, was this Punisher Spider-Man one, because I was like, I already got suckered into picking up the first issue of that Long Way Home or whatever with the Punisher and the Hulk, and that didn't really do much for me. And so I was like, I'm not really a Punisher guy, so I can only imagine that, like, this probably isn't going to do much for me either. But then what happened is, while I was in the store, I flipped through it while I was like, do I put this back? And I saw a page of Johnny and Pete talking, and I was like, hot damn, I love a good Johnny Storm Peter Parker interaction. So I was like, guess I'm picking it up. Sorcerer Supreme number 8 came out last week, and I left this one on the rack. And then as I was picking those up, I was like, I feel bad because I know I ordered one of those copies that's still sitting on the shelf, and so I grabbed it. So I'm not really enjoying. I am not. I read the 2 issues that I had sat on for the longest time yesterday while I was, like, outside barbecuing. And they were okay, but it's like, my thing is that, like, if I read a comic, I want to, when I put it down, I want to be like, holy smokes, I'm going to want to read that again. And, like, that series, I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I'm going to be like, you know what I should do? I should sit back, get myself some tea, and read Sorcerer Supreme. But I ticked that box. I can't stuff my shop with it. We all know the tale with this one. I was not going to pick up this title. I did not pre-order this title. And then my kid grabbed issue number 1. And it became the first comic that he ever picked up, like, from the racks. And was like, this is my comic book. And had a whole thing in the store where he was, like, chatting with me about it as he was flipping through it. Only a couple words made sense because he's in that phase right now. But I'll be damned if that didn't immediately be like, I'm going to get all this Spider-Versity because I'm going to remember that forever. He's not. But I am. X-Men. The title that I was... This arc... This 6-issue trade... The first 2 parts of this 6-issue trade that annoys me were good. Tony Daniel's art was good. And the story seemed to be really, like, it was nice because it wasn't like, I get it. I've read X-Men comics my entire life. I understand that they are persecuted, hated, and feared because people don't understand them. But occasionally, I just want them to do superhero shit. And these 2 episodes, they were more or less doing, like, science, like, figuring out something that was going on with the mutant. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this, that it's not just them. Like, it was breezy. It was like, oh, they're just doing like a superhero thing, and it's not grim and gritty and we're all gonna die because the humans hate us. And so I kind of appreciated that. This was a little bit this was probably the first arc where I was like, oh, I'm really, like, the tide is possibly turning on this. Plus, it's, you know, I don't know if this, you know how covers are now. They're not the same as what's actually on the inside. Not like back in my day as a, you know. But it was nice for a minute to have Magneto back. So I hope we can get all of that sorted. Inglorious X-Force. This book has no business being as enjoyable as it is, but first 6 issues I have absolutely adored. I dig the team, and it's just been kind of a blast. So I was very, like, this was a, I know that I front loaded that with, like, books where I was like, I was thinking about dropping this, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to them. And, you know, this was one of the better weeks. Infernal Hulk. I know that this is leading into an event. It's creepy in the right ways. Like, I'm not usually a horror guy, but this has been fun, and it was nice to see Banner show back up at the end of the issue. I'm still salty about them killing Marrow, but that's my own personal thing. Captain America. Last issue of this is going to, I guarantee, unless the latter half of this year unleashes just some excellent comic books, expect that last issue of Captain America to be in my probably top 5 of the top 10. Should be top 12. I should pick out one a month. But that Captain America issue was quite badass, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I was quite happy when I checked and saw that a new issue was being released today, because if you're not reading this series, you should be. And this is where it's going to get tough, because I'm like, man, I'm excited about that issue of X-Men. I'm excited about Inglorious X-Force. I'm excited about Infernal Hulk. I'm excited about this Captain America issue. I am very excited about Avengers Armageddon issue number 2. I absolutely enjoyed issue number 1. Really dig what Chip Zdarsky is doing in Captain America. Happy that he has a flagship Avengers title. I was pretty excited too when I realized that, like, yeah, this ties into Captain America. But when I saw last month when issue number 1 came out that it was a legacy number for Avengers, I was like, oh, that's great. This isn't going to have 82 tie-ins, and it's just going to be kind of a self-contained story, and I'm already reading Captain America, so this is perfect. So I'm very excited about that. And last but not least, Fantastic Four, number 740, best book on the stands, world's greatest comic magazine. And this cover looks, I don't know, just looks super fun. And this whole series, Ryan North has been doing fantastic things with the Fantastic Four. It's been my favorite title. So this, like, probably my favorite week of comics for the month. So plenty to look forward to as I'm picking these up. I'm pretty jazzed about all that. Happy about that. You know, feeling like I feel like the X titles are starting to get their footing. That's been nice. You know, I'm sure there's a shakeup coming with that Fantastic Four crossover. But hey, if it's crossing over with my favorite title, that's not an X book. That's good for me. So, you know, the end of the summer is looking up. Yeah, so that is new comics. Cornerbacks Classics coming up this weekend, hopefully. And yeah, new episode of X-Men 97 that I get to watch tonight, which I'm pretty jazzed about. So yeah, everything in the comics book world is great. So I hope you had an enjoyable Wednesday picking up your books. Let me know if you're digging any of that stuff. Let me know if you think it's ridiculous that I bought a Rolling Stones vinyl just because it had Spider-Man on the cover. I mean, I was going to buy it anyways, but, you know, then it had Spidey on the cover, and I was like, way to go. I mean, it's not like I bought every single one of those, and, you know, I'm not that crazy. Anyways, hope everybody had a good Wednesday. Hope you're excited about your comics, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great night. Bye.